Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're one of my regular viewers, you're probably wondering, what is going on right now? Am I on the right channel? And yes, it is still me. And just like what I did with Master of the Universe, I'm branching out one more time here and doing something that I'd been tempted to do for a long time, that's starting to review Marvel Legends figures. Now, these Legends toys have always been something that have very, very much interested me. I mean, I am a big Marvel fan, and I do love, the high-end look of these Legends figures. I love the posability, all that stuff. But I'd always been held back because of, space concerns and obviously, budgeting. I don't have all the money in the world, so I can only collect so many things. So I try to, keep it pretty streamlined. And for the longest time, it was just Transformers. Then I got into Motu a little bit, because that was another line that I had just been very tempted to, start on and mess with. However, unfortunately, the Masters of the Universe videos don't tend to do very well, which is very disappointing, because I was really excited to do that stuff, but there doesn't seem to be a very big audience for it, at least not on my channel. So, I'm branching out into something new, because experimentation is a key part of creativity, and I'm finally going to start collecting and reviewing Marvel Legends, at least for the time being. It really will depend on how well these things do. Obviously, it has to make sense for me to invest that kind of money and, household space to do this. But here's hoping that you guys that normally watch me like it, and if you're a newcomer that, is here because you like Marvel, welcome, and I hope you join us for future videos. Maybe I can convince you to get into Transformers and Motu while I'm at it, because those are two other franchises that I think are just really great. And I look forward to sharing them with you. That all being said, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at the toy's packaging, then we'll put it up, we'll see Doctor Strange himself, check out all his posability, check out his accessories. Because this is my very first Legends figure, I don't really have any comparisons or anything to do for this one, though as we progress, those will become more commonplace. And then as always, at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Doctor Strange comes in your standard size Marvel Legends packaging, your $20 to, I guess now, like $25 price point. Yikes. Luckily, they're still $22 at Walmart, so, if you see these on Walmart peg, get them. Which is actually where I got this. I happened to run into the entire wave yesterday, which is rare to just walk into a store and they have, like, every figure in a Marvel Legends wave, and, the one per case ones haven't already been picked through. So I'm like, you know what? Let's do this. So we're going to start this with Doctor Strange, and the reason for that is that I'm going by the order here on the back of the box. So we'll look at that real quick. You get this very nice render. I don't think it's a photograph. I think it is an actual artwork render of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. This whole wave is based off the upcoming movie, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And the Build-A-Figure for this wave is the character Rintrah, which is this interdimensional green minotaur guy who is one of the compatriots of Doctor Strange. Now, he's another sorcerer type. So that's where I'm starting. My very first wave is Rintrah. Not the most exciting. It's not like Colossus or something, but, you gotta start somewhere. Like most Legends figures, Doctor Strange has some flavor text here, and it says, Dr. Stephen Strange is Earth's mightiest sorcerer, battle-hardened and reckoning with his lonely place in the multiverse after the events of Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. And this flavor text appears to, just play directly into his story arc for the upcoming movie, which I'm very excited for, by the way. I cannot wait for this. I love the first Doctor Strange movie. I thought the ending was a little meh. They did the old thing where you take a famous Marvel villain and just turn him into like a CGI cloud, like they did for like Galactus and Fantastic Four. But aside from that, I thought it was, a very solid movie and one of the better, like, origin stories that MCU has done. All right, here we see our wave lineup, and this is how I determine what order I'm going to do these reviews in. So we're starting with our Doctor Strange, who is, like, there's always that, usually one figure per wave that does not come with a piece of the Build-A-Figure, and this one is that. So we're starting with him, just your basic Doctor Strange, and then you get Wong, America Chavez, Master Mordo, an astral projection Doctor Strange, and you get the comic characters Despair and Sleepwalker. Admittedly, I'm not very well versed on those two, so I got a little bit of homework to do before I get to their reviews, just so I can talk intelligently about them. When I first saw Sleepwalker, I actually thought he was like some version of Green Goblin, but that doesn't appear to be the case, as far as I know. Despair looks like a luchador from, the Netherworld or something. America Chavez is an interesting one because she's a relatively new, I mean, she's been around for a bit, but relatively new Marvel hero as part of your more modern lineup in the comics, and now she's making her MCU debut. So that'll be interesting to see. I wonder how they're going to play her there. All right, on the sides are just more images from this render, which is the norm. And yeah, we see Doctor Strange in the front. You got 2 hands casting spells, and then you get 2 additional hands, like making the finger movements for casting a spell. So just all about spell casting. There's no weapons or anything like that. Very kind of cut and dry Doctor Strange. Okay, so I think I've spent enough time on this packaging. I mean, it's the first time, so I wanted to, spend a little bit extra looking at it. But now, let's go ahead and open this up. All right, now we get our toy out of the box, and you can see him laid out with all of his accessories, the cape, extra hands, spellcasting hands. And look at that face. Look how lifelike that is. Now, I remember watching one of like the little fan first type segments that they did for Marvel Legends, because it was part of like one long presentation. I don't know, I think it was like, was it HasCon, I think, or like, HasCon line or whatever it was. So I watched that part when waiting for the Transformers, and I remember them talking about a new technology they had, like some sort of, face printing technology that was allowing them to make these very photorealistic looking depictions of your, live action characters. And I mean, I think they nailed it. I mean, if that doesn't look like Benedict Cumberbatch in plastic form, I don't know what does. Look at that. Look at a little close up there. You see that? I mean, that's really good. And definitely comes a lot closer than, some of their older toys based on the MCU properties. So I really dig it. I think it's a pretty good time to start collecting if you're looking for, that quality there. Another thing that I believe is also pretty new to the line, at least as far as the Universal standard, is they have the ab crunch and like back crunch and all that. So he gets this, little pivot right here. Now, obviously, this doesn't look very natural to go that far, but you can get these poses where, maybe he's leaning forward a little, maybe he's leaning back. That is a really nice touch and puts him above and beyond any of the other figures, or most of the other figures that I've been collecting. Some of the RED toys do that, though because of the fact that they're blocky robots, they don't usually tend to get a whole lot of give in either direction. Now the Motu Revelations line, they take a different approach where they have a ball-jointed upper torso, so it just kind of rotates around, which is, it's also very good. It gives a real nice natural posability. They just can't lean forward or back very far. So I think there's pros and cons to either approach. You get a better crunch with this, but you don't really get any side-to-side movement. But for me, I think it's adequate. I mean, I would have collected these before they even had an ab crunch, so, I'm really not complaining. All right, so checking out posability, especially since it's my first time. The head is on a ball joint, as you can see. I think it might be a double ball joint. I don't really want to pop the head off to find it. You know what? Let's do it. I want to pop the head off. Just this once, just to see. All right, yeah, so it is a double ball joint. So it's just like those Masterverse figures. That's good. And Origins, actually. So lots of posability there. You got universal shoulders. Now they're a little tight in this, outward motion. They will go. So they swing, in and out, forward and back, which they're even ratcheted a little bit. So that'll help hold poses. It's got a bicep swivel. It's got double jointed elbows, which are like the current standard for these figures. So you get a real deep elbow bend. And then he's got those universal wrists where, it can spin around 360 and then hinges back and forth. And then, of course, the hands can be popped out to swap them with others. We already covered that whole ab crunch. Full waist articulation. A little low, but, they got to work around the molded belt here, which is really nicely done. Look at the detail on that. Very, very nice. He does have universal hips. Can swing forward and back, and they can swing out, though his robe, it doesn't split or anything on the side, so it does limit that outward movement a bit. You don't want to pull it too hard, you start ripping this. But it is there. He has a thigh swivel, the double jointed knees. He doesn't have like a boot swivel like the Motu figures do, so that's not something Marvel seems to do with these. But the thigh swivel, pretty much accomplishes anything you'd want to do there. And then he has ankle rocking, which is pretty nice. No tilt. Oh, no, I take that back. He does have tilting. Ha, nice. That is something that Motu can learn from. Yeah, much better tilting, I think, than the Motu figures. So, as far as a posable action figure, he's just phenomenal. Really, really good. I like him. Now, let's check out his accessories. We have his cape, which is molded in like a rubberized plastic, but it's patterned to look like real fabric. Very much the same as like Origins Scareglow, which fooled me the first time I reviewed it. But I love how it has different textures on it too. You have like kind of a finer texture here, then you get like a really rough one, then you get this like ventilated texture, so all sorts of different things. You got that little bit on the shoulder there, which is very nice. Little lapel bits here painted like a bronzish color, and then the inside has its own texturing too. So this is a very, very nice accessory. And what's really cool is the cape is basically sentient, so I mean you can just pose it by itself. You know what I mean? It's its own entity, its own character. But of course, it's meant to go right here on the Sorcerer Supreme's shoulders, and it looks really nice. Now there's really no way to secure it to his shoulders, so if you're not careful, it could fall off. It's just resting right there. So that is something that see, also makes him very back heavy, so you're gonna have to pose him accordingly. So that is something that I think I would have preferred to see something done to hold this onto him so it's not falling off. And again, it's making him very back heavy. I don't like that. Do something about that. Old Steven here, come on. Okay, a little better. Boy, look how real that looks. I love that. All right, and then the last thing we should do is check out the alternate hands. So I'm gonna go ahead, pop his current hands off, being careful not to break any fingers or anything off. All right, there's one. And this just goes from one spell casting hand to a different one. This trades out a closed fist for what looks like kind of a meditating hand, which I think kind of matches this one. Not exactly, so maybe you can put him in like a meditating pose. So just two other options to have him, look like he's casting some kind of spell, which is nice. But I think the cooler ones, easily, are our little energy-covered hands here. They have two different sized, like, runic circles on them. I think these, are kind of the stand-in for any sort of, like, weapon or blast effect. So, yeah, here we go. Check this out. Get them all posed up. I'll have to get used to, the balancing and stuff on these guys, but there you go. Look at that. I mean, that is really nice. Now, as much as I'm not happy about the recent price hikes on these figures, going from $20 to $23 to $25, I will say it does at least give the appearance of a far more expensive figure, something you would get from some kind of licensed third party or statue maker or something. I mean, this looks like he jumped right out of the screen, which is exactly what you're going for, right? This is what you want in a figure of MCU Doctor Strange. So, I mean, I'm sold. Like, I think he is very much worth the cost, even if, I think it would be nice if that cost was still $20. And this completes the channel's first ever Marvel Legends review. And I gotta say, as a first taste of this line, Doctor Strange is very satisfying. I'm very much impressed by the level of detail, the face accuracy, the really cool accessories. And it's got me kind of pumped. It's something I've really been hesitating to dip my toes into, just for cost and space reasons, and also making my wife not want to kill me. So, it's something I've hesitated on, but I'm kind of glad that I've taken this dive, and I hope it pans out. I really do. I hope this, proves to be popular, proves to be something that, is worth investing, time and money and all that into. And hopefully you guys are all enjoying it, both, existing viewers, new people that are showing up because, they typed in, Marvel Legends, Doctor Strange or something, or anything, of that ilk. And yeah, hopefully you just kind of join me on this journey. I really enjoyed what we have. Sorry the review's not very long, but again, it's my first figure, so I don't really have anything to compare them to. But from what I see, I very much like it. I'm looking forward to opening up the rest of the wave and going through it with you guys and sharing my thoughts, showing off the Build-A-Figure at the end. I'll probably do like a wave-wide retrospective too. Yeah, and just let me know what you think, both of, the toy, the review, anything like that. And, your thoughts on me engaging in this. Do you think it's a good idea? Do you like seeing me branch out, or, do you wish I'd stick to just Transformers? Any and all feedback, whether it's positive, negative, I'm here for all of it. It's always welcome in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, toss it a like. Let YouTube know you want to see more stuff like this. If you do want to see more like this, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for joining me for this look at the all-new Marvel Legends Multiverse of Madness Doctor Strange. And with all that said, I will see you next time.